Our friends at Detroit Boxing Company are dedicated to providing high-quality boxing apparel. With fighters and fight fans in mind, their designs are unique and stylish. With their hats, shirts, hoodies, jackets, they are going to make your jab cross hook look even more sexy. They have great classic t-shirts that feature some of boxing's biggest legends. Tommy Hearns, James Tooney, Jimmy Paul, and more. The people behind this company are simply wonderful, and they truly care about the boxing community. You have to check out their website at DetroitBoxingCompany.com and see the full catalog of all the great stuff they have available. Scoop up some fresh gear and just make sure you use the code word CoryCast at checkout, and you're going to save yourself a little bit of money. Check out their Instagram page at Detroit Boxing Company and hit that follow button. Just let them know that Cory sent you. My guest today is my friend Gary Dolan. He is the podcast host of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Party Wagon, as well as the creator of the Facebook group, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Party Wagon. With over 11,000 community members, Gary has built a positive community centered around anything Ninja Turtles. Gary is an avid collector, painter. He does anything with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he is a wonderful person. And the best thing about this podcast is it allows me the opportunity to see why individuals get so invested in a hobby or something that they really love, because their passion is super contagious. And after I got done talking with Gary, I felt like I was more passionate about the things that I loved. Back in the day, you felt like you had to hide some of your hobbies and interests because you didn't want to get made fun of. But newsflash, it's 2023. No one cares. Everyone loves you. Everyone supports you. No matter what you're into, don't hide it. And that was one of Gary's big things in this podcast. Was at first he was embarrassed about how much he loved and was involved in the Ninja Turtle community. But why? There's no reason to. Right? Gary is super passionate about the Ninja Turtles and the community that he's building. And to me, that's really all that matters, that he's a good human and he's just being nice and spreading his love to other people who care about Ninja Turtles. I had a blast with this one, so here is my friend, Gary Dolan. It's really, I will say, StreamYard is super easy to use, and it's worth there's like an entry fee, and then there's a professional fee that's like absorbently high. But this gets the job done, and I now have a file. When we get done with this, I have a file that I could save and download and upload.
Yeah, it's awesome. I know we're recording. How can we swear? Are there swears on us?
For sure, yeah. Yeah, you can say swears and bad words and stuff.
All right.
There's no, I'm not catering to a child audience. or if it was like a real estate minded podcast, maybe not so much, but it's kind of all cool people that I like to talk to, really.
That's what we do. We do amazing. Yeah. We have amazing friends. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, the cool thing is when we met, honestly, Gary, I don't even know how we met. Through Instagram, social media, some path, some venture.
Dude, I don't even remember. Like, we friend groups, maybe?
Yeah, that's what probably friend groups, like from Chris Smith to just how small of a street Syracuse really is.
Yeah, pretty much.
Our lives just intersected. And one of the cool things I loved is like Ninja Turtles is such like a passion for you. How did you get into Ninja Turtles?
So this is one of my favorite stories that means a lot to me. So hopefully everybody's got the best audio possible. And by the way, for anybody who's watching, I'm looking to the side because that's where Cory is on my screen. So I tried talking to the camera and I hate doing it. So
yeah, I know.
I feel a little more comfortable. Yeah, I look like a robot. But you know, I'm about to be 36 next month. So I was born in 87, and it's one of those things that when you're born, you can't, I mean, you're a child, you latch on to things. For me, it was Ninja Turtles, Nintendo, and Power Rangers growing up, right?
Yeah.
Well, my earliest memories are Nintendo and Ninja Turtles. Like that's like my earliest memories, Ninja Turtles, pretty much. So being very lucky, I grew up in a family that had money. I was an only child adopted by my grandparents, and they were very well off. And I was spoiled kid. I got everything I wanted, and Turtles was a thing, man.
Yeah.
Turtles was like the thing, and it was Turtle Mania, and I got everything I wanted Ninja Turtles, right? And uh, later on in life, skateboarding became more of my life, and we did as growing up as kids, we like to destroy things. So I don't know if you did it, but we definitely put turtles on skateboards, launch them in the air, broke
Heck
toys,
yeah.
stuff like that. My grandmother was like, I was like, I don't know, 13 or 14. She says, I get home from school one day. She says, "You're gonna grow out of these one day. We're gonna get rid of them." And all of my turtles were in trash bags. They were being donated. I think they got thrown out, but that was it. You're going to grow out of it one day. Turtles aren't going to be your thing forever. That's what she said to me. And things stick with me. Specific things in my life, words stick with me that I don't ever forget. And I remember that. I remember the time, the place, the whole 9 yards. So I think that's what really like burned it into my brain. Right. So when I got a little older, one of my first tattoos that I got, this is an oldie one. I don't know if it's going to show up on screen. Oh man, this is one of Jamola did this
Heck yeah,
at
dude. I love
Resurrected.
Ebola.
I got a Raphael tattooed on me back in like 08, 07,
Yeah.
08. And I went home. I went and showed my grandmother. I'm like, I'm never gonna grow out of Ninja Turtles. Now it's on me forever. And I was still into Turtles regardless. So yeah, so like it was one of those things that I was like, she told me I'm gonna grow out of it. It's like you tell someone no, it makes them want to do it more.
Right.
So
Exactly.
that's just really what it did. And at our age now, it's really nostalgic. It brings back a lot of great memories. There's a lot of people our age that are in the toy industry that know that people our age really just we spend money on things that bring us back to our childhood, and there's a lot of that. And we were in that generation that we were catered to cartoons to sell toys, so we were kind of pre-programmed to be this way.
Yeah.
In my opinion, thankfully, these companies exist because I'm surrounded by turtles. You can see some of them were all over the place, right? And that's really what it did. And during the pandemic, communities started to pop up and collectors started to pop up, and I was already collecting. And it's a great escape from reality. I don't have children. I have dogs. So
They
I have a
count as
lot.
kids.
Yeah, so they count as kids, but I got a lot of just extra money that I technically don't have to spend on adult things, and I just buy turtles and I just have
Yeah.
fun. And that's kind of the long story. Is my grandmother ruined it for me by saying that one time she did it, and now that she's gone 4 years ago, 4 years and 3 weeks, my grandfather has to deal with me with his bullshit. So he yells at me for all the money I spend on turtles. So
Now, was it the cartoon, the comic, or the movie that you were first introduced to?
cartoon,
Yeah.
100%. Never was into the comics. I have a reading comprehension disorder, so I have a reading disability. So I never
Oh,
was able to do the reading until recently. I've been reading the new comics, but it was definitely the cartoon. And then real sappy moment, the 1990 movie, still to this day, I watch it all the time, and I will always tear up because I'm just happy.
yeah.
They are pure tears of joy, and it really just transports me back to an earlier time in life when when stuff didn't matter.
Yep.
And I'm just kind of getting teary eyed about it now, just thinking about it. Like I love that movie. It's the
Yeah.
first one and the second one, but the first one specifically, and
First one's got the best line ever. A wise man once said, "Never pay full
yep,
price for a late pizza."
yeah, yep, dude. Okay, so that saying is so iconic that it's now one of those things that bothers me because I
Really?
hear it so much.
Yeah.
I hear it so much. That and
Yeah.
Pizza Dude's got 30 seconds. It's like
Yeah.
I see that everywhere. There's t-shirts, people in the groups are always saying it. And I
Yeah.
was like, man. Uh,
So you have always been into collecting, even like even when grandma tried to throw the toys out, you still did you like prevent her from throwing them out? Or did you lose all those toys?
so I had I don't know if you had one of these as a kid. People listening might have had these. We had these awesome toy chests when we were kids, and they were like five-sided, four sides and a top, and they had like artwork on them. And I had a Nintendo one. It had Super Mario Brothers 3,
Hell yeah.
Legend of Zelda, stuff like that on it. and there was just a toy chest, and it was made out of like plywood or something, and pictures on it. But I had a couple of toys in there, and ready for this? I had a Primal Rage Red Raptor. I had a Jurassic Park Pterodactyl. I had a troll figure, which was like the big buff ones that only moved on their hips and he was like in a full army gear, orange hair.
Yeah.
This is how my memory is, man. There were movie Raphael left leg and right arm, the rubber ones. I don't know why.
Huh.
And then there were a couple of just vintage toys, like the skateboarding Michelangelo. They had like the helmet on and the knee pads and stuff, and he came with a skateboard and some little skates. So there were a couple, very few turtles in there, specifically that one. And then there was another Michelangelo, Caveman Mikey, from the Dinosaur Caveman line. Those were in there. Those are the only ones that survived.
Oh,
Nothing
wow.
else. Oh, I lied. And there's one more. There was a space Usagi Yojimbo where I broke his head off. My grandmother glued it back on.
Ooh.
So I still have that too, somewhere around here.
You still have it
But-
somewhere.
But yeah, everything was gone except for that one bin. And that bin ended up being sold to Patrick Milligan, who runs Retro Game Con here in Syracuse.
Oh,
So I don't know if he sold it yet, but I sold it to him so he can resell it. When you helped me move, I sold a ton, almost all of my Nintendo memorabilia to Pat.
that makes
so
sense.
he can sell them at conventions because I didn't want to move this stuff.
Yeah, right. You don't want let's get it off your hands so you don't have to bother with it, right?
Yeah.
There's something to be said about I used to be like to collect him. This has that escapism for you, that the toy aspect, right? It takes you back to an older time. I think that's why a lot of people love like video games and movies and books. It's a form of escapism that you get to kind of get lost in your own world, right? And that's kind of what you're doing with the collectibles, really.
I agree. Yeah. I get made fun of for it, and I kind of roll the punches. It's not one
Hey
of those
Gary,
things that bothers me.
dude, fuck those people who make fun
Right?
of you for it. Like you can have your thing that you like to do, and as long as it doesn't hurt anybody, who cares?
I mean, yeah, I agree. I'm judgmental on things sometimes, but at the end of the day, it's like, a lot of times it's, they're in the same boat as I am. It just kind of helps them get through the day. And,
Yeah.
and people make fun of me a lot. I keep saying, I'm sorry. You don't know.
Oh,
I'm
don't worry.
talking to
No,
you
you're
about
good.
it. I study politics a lot. I study the human mind. I'm blanking on what, just how the human mind works, decisions. I've been doing it for like 10 plus years. I have a college degree in applied science and in graphic design. And part of that applied science is figuring things out. So part of my daily regimen is I like to learn. A lot of people watch TV shows. I watch like educational things. I watch a lot about cults, the Manson family, the Davidians in Waco, and like stuff like that. And I like to learn and learn to get in the minds of the way that those work, cults, because I like to study cults and religion, which is cults. I like to try to like figure out how it works and how everything, how the mind works, how people are swayed. So, a lot of my days just like that. So when it comes down to like the turtles and such, it's like people judge me based on my hobbies and taking photos of toys. But at the end of the day, like I'm really like, I'm smart, I'm not just a turtle guy.
Well, you're also genuinely happy.
I'm
Like you're just enjoying yourself, man.
For the most part. We can talk if you want. We can talk a little about into that if it helps the fan base, but not always happy.
Yeah. But the thing is, you have this, you have your collection that gives you like this creative outlet, because it's more than collecting for you, right? Like you said, photography too. So you're like doing a lot of cool. Do you mind if I pull up your Instagram and show
I'd love
a couple
to.
things?
And while you're doing that, like when I'm talking, I'm always looking around, right? I've got maybe like 20, 30 toys sitting on my desk right now that I work at all day. And I'm always just running around with like, I got Casey Jones here, fun little like custom I did. And then like this one, everybody's losing their mind on right now. We'll show the camera. This is the Unmentionables Casey Jones, which I'm having a blast with that one.
Now, did you do anything to did you paint it?
Yeah.
Or make something for it? What did you do to him?
Yeah. So this one specifically, his pants were brown, his shoes were brown. He actually had like a button up underneath here that I took off. I put suspenders on him. This jacket itself, I repainted, and I also melted it with heat and remolded it so it would fit him a little better. The hat was repainted. You kind of see there's probably some, might be able to see some marks on him. I'm not sure, but the hat was repainted, and the head didn't go to this character. The head, I actually ended up having to do a head swap, which was a lot more work than you'd expect. So, it's
Impressive.
really a full repaint. They call them kit bashes, where you kind of take toys and you take them apart, you make new ones, and you repaint them. This one's got a little bit of sculpt on it. This is just sculpted with putty. So they're like just fun little things
Oh,
I
you
like
can't
to
even
do.
tell. That's cool.
Yeah, and it's just I'm on meetings all day, so like part of my ADD that I have is I can't focus on something. So
Right.
I have to focus on two things. I have to do something and then I have to listen to the other thing. That's how I learn. Yeah, I
Right.
just posted that one earlier today. That's something that I hated.
You hated it? Yeah. I was
Yeah,
reading the caption, right? I made this
yeah,
a month ago, wasn't happy with it, which
yep.
seems to be like a running theme. Never
And
posted it, but look at
yeah,
this thing, dude. This thing's
and
cool.
I dyed. I actually dyed that jacket blue, and it barely held up. And you're not going to see it, but my fingertips are blue from posing that today for those photos
Oh,
because the dye
wow.
is still coming off.
Okay, so you how do you determine what figure you're gonna pose and what to put on it?
Well, I mean, posing really comes with the photo that I want to take, and I like to be as least complex as possible because the focus has to be whatever you're taking the photo of. Kind of like that with that Casey Jones. I
Right.
could put him in a crazy scene, but instead I just kind of want to focus on him so people can see the detail and such. So posing is really everything, and posing is just
Cool.
up to. Thanks for the like. Uh,
Heck yeah.
Posing is just up to like what kind of ideas I think might work, right? And when it comes to painting, it's all
Hell yeah.
random. Yeah, so that one I do with a bunch of people that I've tagged in there. Um, that is, do you know what iconic scene that is?
No, it looks like Spider-Man, right?
Yeah, if you click through the actual photos, um, so we
Oh, the
every two
iconic
weeks, yeah,
scene,
every
yeah.
2 weeks we have a challenge in the TMNT collab, and we that this was iconic movie scenes
That's
with turtle
cool.
stuff. So like that's what I came up with.
That's cool. So you get like a new toy and then you try to do it just like mess around with it with a camera and try to scene it out and everything?
Kinda, yeah. I'll be honest with you. I'm a child. I have to buy two of everything because I'm scared of moving the joints around and them getting loose in my posing. So I buy
Uh,
one for the shelf, and then usually buy an extra one down the line that I'll do photos with because I
that's
like to pose
cool.
them. Yeah.
That's cool. Do you have like a pile of ones that you've been meaning to get to paint and stuff?
Um, Actually, no.
No.
I'm f- I'm I am like for the once in my life, I have four turtles that I got a commission on that's sitting behind my couch that I got to do for someone. He wants them to be like spacey, robot,
That's
futuristic,
cool.
but I have nothing in the old noodle.
Yeah.
So they're just sitting there in a box for the past 2 weeks. I don't know what to do with them, and I'm
So
not
someone
going to
can
start
come to
them.
you with a commission too, like if they have an idea for their Ninja Turtle.
Yeah. Yep. So if people have like ideas and such, I have them send them to me, and I'll paint them for a fee, or I'll
Whoa.
put them together and such, which is fun. One thing I just announced today. So I did this Casey we were just talking about for the Unmentionables, which is a comic book from the 80s, and everybody's obsessed with it. But the problem is to procure the pieces for this figure, it's going to be about $100 for the
Interesting.
pieces. And if I was to charge it, like if I sell this one, it's gonna be like 120 bucks, make a little bit of profit. So I put something out into the world right before our call today, and I said I'm only gonna do 10. I'm gonna put out some positive energy. If whoever wants to buy the pieces, you can send them to me. I'll paint them for free. I'll put it together for free, and I'll send it back. As long as you
Wow.
cover the shipping, I'll do all the work for free, so you can have yours on your own shelf because so many people wanted this.
Wow.
So I'm
Wow.
just like, I wanted to put some good karma out there. I'll paint it for free, and I don't mind doing it. I enjoyed doing it, and I want to see that on other people's shelves.
That's pretty cool. How did you learn how to paint these things? Because these are really cool, man. These are like works of art, to be honest.
I've always been an artist. I've always drawn.
Oh, that makes sense
I
then.
was never really good at painting, like acrylics and such.
Yeah.
But I started to do miniatures, Warhammer 40K back
Bro,
in
when I get off
2012.
the call with you, I'm painting this guy.
There you go. So what happened was that my original my job before I got my current position, in 2012, my significant other cheated on me, and it was devastating for me.
For
And
sure.
everybody was like, "You're talented. Why don't you try painting miniatures?" So I started doing Warhammer 40K miniatures, and I got really deep into it. I played one game, I hated it, but I loved painting them. And then
Yeah.
I started painting those Nintendo Amiibo when they came out, because the Smash Brothers have the different skins and
Yeah.
like the stuff. So I would just buy them. I paint them blue, I paint them red, and then people would buy them. And then I started doing Funko Pops when Funko Pops started to get really big.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, and then one day I have them right here. I was like, I found this Casey Jones in my collection, and I was like, hey, I wonder if I could paint this. And this is what started it all. So I started
Wow.
just repainting figures.
Wow.
And
So it's
take
all
care
just
of
been
it.
trial and error since you started painting the Warhammer figures.
Yeah, and you just kind of evolve and you get better. And it's just like anything, you do get better with things. You're gonna fail. You're
Yeah.
gonna fail.
Right.
You're gonna be unhappy with things. There's like that splinter I'm not happy with. I'm not happy with my blue turtles. Like there's stuff that you're not gonna be happy with.
Right.
But
But it's all part of the process.
it's all part of the process. You're not gonna knock it out of the park every time.
Dude,
And that's
I've
what you
had
gotta
this
understand.
thing, it came in a paint kit. Like a week ago, I told myself, I was like, I would love to get into painting miniatures. I need some kind of like creative outlet, like painting, drawing, or something. So I bought this like a week ago to paint this little beholder looking guy.
Yeah.
And he's been staring at me for a week because honestly, I'm too scared to start it because I'm a perfectionist, dude.
Right.
Like it's gonna bother me that I'm gonna have to let go and just have some Bob Ross happy accidents.
Right. Check this out. All right. So if you can you bring the Instagram back up? Is it still
Yeah,
up?
yeah.
All
Got
right.
it.
This is gonna be for anybody that is just getting into painting, including yourself. And it's a cheat. All right. Scroll down a little bit for me,
Yep.
and I will tell you where it is. We'll keep going a little bit more. And it's coming up. All right. See that Leonardo right in the middle?
Right here.
Yep. So that's a miniature that I painted
Whoa.
recently. And if you scroll through, you'll see all the different turtles that I did. So these were small. These were,
Ooh.
I don't know, to scale like that big. They were
They're so cool, dude.
2-3 inches maybe.
Yeah.
So those were miniatures that I painted. Now it's not the best job,
Oh.
but those some holothons. So here's the trick to anybody listening, right? And I always like to be very transparent. Don't buy cheap paints, number one. And what I mean by cheap paints is I've got cheap paints here. These little bottles from like Walmart and
Oh,
stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that, Craft Smart and Apple something and all that, folk art. What you want to buy is you want to get Citadel paints, which are these little guys. You can buy them on Amazon, but you can usually find them at a local shop. Now they're
Yeah.
expensive. That's the thing. This little guy's like $4.
Oh,
And they come in different styles. There's base, there's layer, there's shading, stuff like that. So here's the trick. Here's how I did those turtles, right? So I spray painted them black, all black, just matte black. We were good. And you do it. And what you do is a technique called the dry brush, where you put paint on a brush, like a kind of a bushy brush. I'm going to drop stuff here, kind of like a bushy brush.
yeah.
And then you take a paper towel and you get as much paint as you can off of it till there's barely any paint, right? And you do this with gray. Then you dry brush the model to where every little tiny brush puts a little bit of paint on it, just a little bit on the edges,
Yeah.
right? Or maybe a little bit more than the edges, but for this, you put a little bit more on it. And then you get a different brush, you get white. Then you do even less dry brush on it. So you've got black, you've got a little bit of gray, and then you've got a bright white on the edge. And then you buy this new paint that Citadel puts out. It's about $8. It's called contrast paint.
Yeah.
Trying to focus it here.
Yeah.
It's called contrast, and it's a little bit bigger than the one I just showed you. So $4 compared to $8. This is acrylic. This is more of a oily kind of paint.
It's like thin, right? Super
Yeah.
thin.
So what it will do is it will not do anything to the black. It will actually just make the black darker. But the gray and the white, it will apply the color to it, and it will in a gradient it. So when you look at those turtles, if you look at like Leo's head, I just dry brushed it and then I put that paint over top of it, and it made that beautiful texture by itself and that gradient. So all that is just that technique I told you about.
Ah, that's
So,
cool.
yeah.
It's all about that
So,
dry brush, right?
yeah. So the dry brush is awesome. And then the blood on his blade, I just use a standard red that I had here for it. And it's a very liquidy blood kind of red. So it kind of shows up a little bit liquidy, a little shiny.
Nice.
So it just looks really good. But anybody that's like that cares about this kind of stuff, that's part of why I said I have a applied science degree. You figure out, you figure things out. You find you work smarter, not harder. That's the way I work.
Right. Do you have any painters that like you love to watch, or maybe follow on YouTube?
Yes. So there's a gentleman on YouTube, Does Machines. It's DUZ Machines.
Okay.
Does Machines is one of the best artists when it comes to painting figures I have ever seen. I talk to him all the time.
Follow one more time.
Does Machines. It's DUZ Machines. And their logo was the old Toy Machine logo, if you're familiar with the Toy Machine skateboarding logo.
Does Machines.
Yeah. So Does Machines is what I aspire to be. I am not that good, admittingly. I lack the patience.
Squidmar. I watch a lot of Squidmar. That guy he paints a lot of Warhammer stuff.
Does he?
Yeah, but I don't know. Does Machine. I'm just writing that down so I remember later. That's cool, man. It's a cool craft, and I think what scares me is like having to start over, having to start over in a hobby that I know nothing about.
Yeah.
Being,
it happens.
Yeah, but it's good, right? It's good for you.
It's gonna happen with that blue splinter.
Yeah. Right.
I got some goof off sitting here. Goof off. I'm gonna just strip that paint, baby.
Strip. Oh, it strips the paint right out.
Oh my god. I put right before I moved last year, I wanted to strip a shredder figure that I wanted to redo, and I didn't want to like have to sit there and rub it all off. So I put them in a little like container, filled it with the goof off, covered it up, and the next day I came out and it looked like I was trying to dissolve a dead body. He expanded, all his joints opened up, and he started to smell, and it was disgusting.
Oh. Hey, well, it's all trial and error, right?
Yes.
Especially when you're painting this kind of stuff.
It is, man. And you learning the techniques it helps immensely. Look at something, figure out what you want to do with it. And a lot of times you can dry brush a lot of it, man. Dry brushing is just the creme de la creme.
That's what it is. It's the dry brushing technique that I've seen that. And then there's the it's like you said, the shader. That's what all that is.
I painted these pants black, and then I just dry brush gray. That's it.
Dang. Did you use any of that shader on it? No.
I use this really crappy apple barrel black. Whenever I'm doing something black, I use the crappy acrylics.
Oh.
And then I use that gray. That crappy Craft Smart, because surprisingly, this gray covers very well. Normally it doesn't, and then the black covers anything.
Oh, right.
A lot of times when you buy that paint and you're trying to paint, it's a little oily, and you end up pushing the color around. You want to the way that I look at it is when you want to put a color down, it's almost like using spray paint, where you hit the spray paint on the wall, it's that color. That's how I want my paint to hit. Right. I don't want to move it around. It's almost like taking a dry brush and moving like house paint around, and you're just moving it instead of covering.
Right.
That's how I look at it.
Interesting. What a cool craft that you've honed. When were you painting the Warhammer figures?
2012 into 2013. Wow. And then I played one game, didn't like it, sold the whole set.
Really? And then ever since then, you've just been painting?
Yeah. I mean, cool. It was kind of silly, but I sold the whole thing, man.
Yeah. It was. And now it's turned into, are you doing commissions, like a lot of commissions on Ninja Turtle action figures?
Yeah, yes and no. Every once in a while, I'll allow someone to hit me up and say, "Hey, can you do this for me?" And I'll say yes, and I'll give them the price, and usually pretty good. I'm doing one here soon. This is no one knows about this. I'm repainting all of the turtles in a Game Boy Color style. So the Nintendo Game Boy versions of the turtles are just yellow with like gray and black squares. I'm doing that for somebody.
Interesting.
That's because it's a fun idea. I've never done it, and he's like, "Hey, can you
Yeah.
do this?" I'm like, "I never thought about that. That sounds fun." So
Yeah.
that's when I'll do something like
Stuff that
that.
gets you excited.
Yeah, most of the time, I just do stuff off the top of my head, and if someone wants to buy it, they'll buy it. A lot of times they don't buy it, and I'll put something up for $80. I'll sell it at 30 a year later because people don't want it.
Right.
That's unfortunate, but when you really love to do something and then it starts to feel like work, that's when it loses its charm.
Yeah,
So,
right. Amen. Amen. So when you do these figurines, it's usually like a collaboration of ideas or somebody approaches you with a sick idea.
sometimes, yeah. So like
Yeah.
this Casey Jones we've been talking about, I've been like obsessing over that book the past couple of days.
Oh, okay.
And I was just sitting here and I'm looking at a Casey Jones up there that I did that was similar. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I gotta have a body around here somewhere. Like as a body. And I did a Dr. Loomis from Halloween.
There you go.
And here's the old Dr. Loomis head just kind of hanging out right here.
Just chilling
So
on your desk.
yeah, dude, there's heads galore.
Heads everywhere.
I could just keep putting my hand down, picking up heads.
Look at this, a
know what I mean?
gargoyle.
Yeah, dude, we can go on for days, baby.
Dude, that is amazing.
We got heads for days. Heads for days. I got heads upon heads. So
Dang.
anyway, what I was saying was, yeah, I was just sitting here and I was like, man, I really want to do something fun. I want to do this. I've been obsessing over it, and I had this Dr. Loomis body in my closet, and I was, we're gonna do it. We're gonna try it out. And it was a day of, as I was telling you, meetings. So I was listening and I was working at the same time because that's the only way I can pay attention. So I did it while I was on meetings, and I just had a spark of inspiration and it just happened.
Wow.
That's how most of my things happen.
That's really cool. What is in your collection that you are the most proud of?
Out of customs or just in general?
Just in general.
So you can't see them. I'll turn the camera just a little bit. Oh no, we're turning the lights on. So right here is a full-size Technodrone diorama.
Whoa.
Can't really zoom in on it. So the reason it's my most proud is because during the pandemic, I got into 3D printing, and I really wanted to teach myself how to 3D model. It's the first thing I've ever 3D modeled in my life.
You 3D modeled that whole thing?
Yeah, taught myself how to do it, cut it into pieces, printed it piece by piece, and painted it. And I have a life-size model, and very proud of it.
Where do you even begin with a project like that?
So the inspiration came from the company that makes these toys, NECA, N-E-C-A. They made one out of foam and had it at like the Comic-Con, like New York Comic-Con 2019 or something. And they had one on display. So I searched for a week straight through as many photos as possible I could find on the internet, people that went to New York Comic-Con that took photos of it, get as many reference photos as possible. And then I just started modeling. I took those reference photos and I started building out of blocks, square blocks. That's it.
Really?
Like, very basic. And I just made it from that. And then you print out a piece, you hope it's the right size. And if it's not, you have to print out another piece. And I started with some of the computers to make sure they're the right size. And at the end of the day, they ended up being very close after 3 tries.
3 tries.
Yeah, mind you, one of those computers was 17 hours to print. So,
dude, that's it takes a long time for these to print out, right?
Yeah, that's just one computer piece. So,
wow,
the only thing I had to outsource was the floor. My printer wasn't big enough to do the floor. And one of the people in the community, his name is Joe, reached out to me, and he said, "Hey, I'll print them for you for free." So I gave him the files for free, so he was able to print his own. So he has one too.
Nice. That's cool. After you made that,
yeah, I never sold it. You know what I ended up doing? I ended up giving it out for free. I posted it in our group, and I let them have it for free. I actually did the same thing, Cory, with. Let's see if I can bend it again. This right here is the second thing I 3D modeled, which is the cover of the first Ninja Turtles comic book.
Dude, that's cool.
So I did that one, and I give them out for free. I don't look to profit. I like to share in the joy. You put positivity out in the world, man, or in the universe, it comes back to you. So
I think that is that's a good way to look at like the community that you guys have built on the TMNT party wagon on the flag that you
We
got back
struggled on
there.
that
Is
one.
dude, that's a huge Facebook group. There's like over what 10,000 people in that group.
Yeah. Despite what the creation, it says created 3 years ago, it's only a year old. I created an old group during the pandemic just for local Syracuse collectors.
Yeah.
And we had 49 people in it, and it just died out. We stopped. I closed it down when I created the new group. I didn't want to have to do all the rules again, so I just reopened the old one. But yeah, the party
you changed
wagon
the
grew.
name.
The party wagons grew to almost 11,000 people in a little bit over a year. And
Now, what do you think
they're great.
attributes to just the amount of growth that's seen?
It's really the positivity. With any kind of growth, you're going to get people that don't like you. The group I came from, they don't like me because I didn't leave. I stepped down because I didn't like the way that they treated people. So I ended up stepping down and left that. But I think it's just like I keep saying, what you put into the universe is, what you really get back. And I've noticed a trend that when I do step away from the group for a little bit for, my personal health, and not being dedicated to it, that stuff kind of does go off the rails. The other admins of the group are amazing and they do a lot of great stuff, but I'm a shy person, but I feel comfortable putting my face out there, making videos all the time, buying and reviewing things, and just making a lot of posts and sharing the joy. And I think it's the positivity that we put in. And like I was saying, when you get so big, you're going to get haters. People are not going to like you for whatever reason. And honestly, and this isn't to be rude to anybody, everybody so far that has come after me negatively, I've done my research on, like after the fact, because I'm resourceful, and it turns out every one of them, if not documented, but people that know the people and that person in their community ends up having some kind of mental disability. Not like not a bad one. Like they just have some kind of mental breakdown type situation, or they're a fireball and it's attributed to mental health, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And you have to nurture that. You really have to nurture that, and you can't hold it against people because everybody's different. And I think that's what really helps the group grow is that we don't, we try to be as open as possible. Obviously, you got a few bad apples that you got to take care of, but we just really love what we do, and we put a lot of work, a lot of time, physical, actual time of our lives into that group.
Yeah, it's very interesting, especially when you grow a group exponentially as quickly. You said in a year, I mean, over 10,000 followers in the group is pretty substantial. I mean, it's crazy to see what you've amassed and just putting out positive, forward-thinking content. Do you think that has helped it grow bigger?
Yeah, that's a big part of it. We also try to lean towards a drama-free environment. Every so often, some drama kind of gets in there, and I attribute to it because with people that don't like you, there's going to be, things being said about you, which is kind of a bummer. And I'm getting better at dealing with it. But
It's a work in progress.
Yeah, always a work in progress for me.
Yeah.
Something happened today. I tried to be nice about something, and I was met with negativity, and then I got mad about it. So whatever.
And when you guys are getting new people to your group, how do you expand that base so rapidly? Is it from word of mouth, or is it more like a thoughtful approach where like you're skimming the TMNT hashtag and telling people to join the group that way? I don't know.
Well, we always had a goal to hit 10K. That was always like our goal. We wanted to do 10K in the first year. And what we would do is when NECA or TMNT, the Turtles, like Instagram or Facebook would post about anything, we would tag the group in it. Hey, come join us. Come hang out with us. Jump in, join the wagon, whatever. So we'd have some like fun little catchphrase with it, and you get people coming in. And then another thing that I always loved doing was giveaways.
The giveaways.
The giveaways are great. I was supposed to close one out at 8:00. I just realized.
Oh, no.
We'll wait. It's fine. But we're giving away. I moved it. Giving away a Batman toy because I wanted to do something not Turtles related.
Yeah.
But we always do giveaways, and I come out of pocket with a lot of it. People donate a lot, which is really cool. They'll be like, "Hey, Gary, can you give this away?" And it's awesome. It feels really good.
Speaks
So
to the
you really
positivity.
yeah. So we just kind of annoyed people for a little bit, and and then it turned into a word of mouth where there's a lot of toxicity in the community with toys, anything. There's toxicity. It's a bummer. And people be like, this doesn't happen over in the party wagon, and they'll tag the group or something. And then you'll start seeing people come in. And then one of the greatest things I ever did, and if you check out our website or YouTube, I've done a interview with him, but he's also an admin now. But the Mad Hatter, early on in the group, I reached out to him and said, hey, can I send you some customs I made? And you can review them on your channel and just give us a shout out. I really appreciate it. And he did. And he attributed to, I'd say, well over 30-40% of our group.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's cool.
You know, and
what does he do?
so he reviews toys on YouTube.
That's cool.
He does toy reviews, toy news, stuff like that. He's more of like us. He's a smoking gun. He's not like your normal like kiss ass reviewer. He will be like, this shit sucks. Look at this and
Yeah.
he's pretty open. I love him. Near is
Pretty
one of the
honest
greatest guys
about
ever.
his stuff.
Yeah. So that really helped. I reached out to some creators early on and they really helped promote the group. But what we learned, it's not about the quantity. It's the age-old quality over quantity.
Yeah.
Because as you get more people, you get more bad actors. You get more headaches.
Yeah.
I look at other groups on Facebook. I run another group on Facebook called the Official Figure Collectors, TMNT Official Figure Collectors or something. It's got 24,000 people in it. So yeah, I do other stuff.
Nice.
But like groups like that, or groups, another group I won't name just because they're the ones that always, drag my name for some reason. They have 18,000 members that are in there now. It's the one that I used to be a mod in. And we have more group activity and group interaction at 10,000 or 11,000 now. So people are in both groups are preferring to come to us to post and all of that. They're, really the whole thing is it's an inclusive environment, and we just really appreciate everyone. That we really do. It's not, we don't make any money off it. We just really love to do it. It's a great escape.
I was gonna say, if it's something you guys do for fun.
Yeah, if we can make that escape for someone else, that's a win in our book. That's straight up how it is. And the adventure that I've experienced, I'm just eternally grateful for when it comes to being able to meet people and meet the community, meet the creators, become friends with the creators, stuff like that. It's just insane.
It's meeting cool people with very similar interests to you. And it's not, is it more than just Ninja Turtles? Is there other collectibles?
Yeah. So
I feel like a lot of what I've seen, and when we sold your house, you had the whole room of just Ninja Turtle stuff.
Yeah, it used to be a lot of stuff. Turtles has gotten so crazy. You got to focus on Turtles.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, 99% of my collection is Turtles. NECA does the Gargoyles line. So that's what one of the things I held up was a Gargoyles head. I just picked up Brooklyn yesterday. Sorry, Broadway. I picked up Broadway yesterday. Yeah, that's one of the heads on them. But that, it's a side figure. One of the things I get, and then every so often I'll get some random ones like Toxie from the Toxic Crusaders.
Whoa.
And these ones are fun because they have hitting it with some black light, and you kind of like get some like red. Cool. It's fun stuff. So yeah, man, I delve into different lines every once in a while, but space is definitely a situation, and you know what this house looks like. I'm confined to my one office. April let me have the top floor, so
yeah, one room is enough for all your stuff, Gary.
Yeah, it's to the point where I might need more.
I might need more. But how do you go about purging that stuff? How do you know what to get rid of? Is it just when you're not attached to it?
I'm attached. I'm not purging any of it.
Yeah.
It's really how it is. For anybody that even cares, if I can move my camera to like one of the walls, that's like,
dude, it got bigger since we sold your house.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome.
And I'll be embarrassed to show you the floor kind of down there because there's no shelves up. So NECA's coming out with a sewer layer, and I've been trying to save the bottom shelves for the sewer layer.
Okay.
So I haven't put shelves up down there yet.
And NECA is the one that makes all the Ninja Turtle toys. Are they the ones that have the exclusive license for it?
They don't have the exclusive license. No, they do.
Okay.
They do a lot of the accurate toys. Look just
okay.
like the cartoon, look just like the movie, look like the comic book type things. Super 7 I collect. They do everything you and I grew up with, but in adult form. They're called Ultimates. They're $55 a figure, and they're like highly articulated. That's actually what this is. This is a Super 7,
Okay.
but they're based off the original toy that we grew up with. They have like knee joints, elbow joints. They can fully pose. They got like fun little just a fun little slew of action.
Wow.
They just recently got into the G.I. Joe line, and I bought one, even though I don't do G.I. Joe.
What about it made you want to snag that? The G.I. Joe figure? Is it just the brand?
You're gonna laugh. I had $55 in credit at a local comic shop that I had to spend that day, and I didn't know what I wanted.
Hey, that
So
works.
So you know what? I'm like, I'll see how it is. I appreciate the articulation and the craftsmanship that go into them.
That's
We'll
cool.
try it. I'll see how it is.
Yeah. That's cool. And with these action figures, is there anything that you've gotten that you never expected you would pick up? Like a G.I. Joe toy, like maybe that kind of would match up. Is there something that like you never? Oh, okay. Here we go. He says 1 second. I have something here. He's got quite the collection. That's for sure. Elf.
Elf.
With a Pepsi can?
Yeah. NECA did this. This is a NECA figure. So the director at NECA, his name is Randy. I talked to him. He's an acquaintance of mine. He's one of those guys that like he loves the Munsters. So there's a Munsters line from the new movie, the Rob Zombie movie, right? He loves Elvira. So we have an Elvira figure. He loves all these random things. We have a dinosaurs. Remember dinosaurs?
Yeah,
not the mama or Nakamama, whatever. Dinosaurs are coming out.
That's cool.
But this is the one. This is like one of those ones. This and the Gremlins. I have the full Gremlins Mogwai set. I have all the Mogwais.
Wow, that's cool. What is that? One of the big like creators and distributors of toys?
What was that?
What was the brand name?
NECA. NECA.
NECA, and then you said something else after that. It's one of the what line of toys? The Gremlin ones?
Oh, Gremlins. Yeah, I have the Mogwais, which are not the mutated ones. The one before, if you feed them after midnight. If you feed her after midnight, then they turn into like the Gremlins. But I got the Mogwais. I got Gizmo. I got all of them.
Dang, that's so cool. It's so cool. What a really cool collection and a really cool hobby. I haven't met anybody who has a love for Ninja Turtles, but I mean, dude, everyone's got their thing. Behind me is my D&D books.
Yeah.
Right, so I like to collect D&D shit too. Everybody's got their thing,
Dungeon Master Cory.
That's right, dude.
So about D&D, right? Maybe I can convince you into this. Do you have a MetaQuest yet?
No, what is a MetaQuest?
VR headset.
Oh, yeah. No, I do not have one.
Okay. So there's this game on there called Demeo, Demeo. All right. Everybody watching this, make sure you hound Cory to watch this trailer. It's called Demeo. It's a VR D&D game where it actually you sit at a virtual table and it pretty much pops up. It looks like fucking Diablo, and you play a D&D style game with your friends, and none of my friends will play it with me, so I haven't bought it yet. But I don't like D&D. I don't have the imagination for sitting down and doing a real Dungeons and Dragons game. But if I could play something in a video game with people like that, where I could see it and do the campaign, I'm so sold on it, and no one will play it with me.
This looks cool. It looks like a totally just a virtual tabletop.
Yeah, and your characters move, and there's like animations, and you can like move. It's awesome. It looks really cool. It's got great reviews too. So
dang,
I don't know.
That is
might talk into getting one.
That's one of the things that is really exciting in the space of D&D right now. They are talking about launching their new virtual tabletop because like Roll20 has always been a thing. They saw how successful Roll20 is. So
is that like the TV table?
Yeah, it's like a lot of people will use their virtual maps in Roll20 to set up their TV table, but it's a way that you can play Dungeons and Dragons virtually, like in a Zoom session. But you have a map, you have tokens, you have character sheets, everything on a web file basically. And so D&D is making its own that looks like this because it looks like a table. It looks like it's a tabletop game where it's this perspective that Demo is showing. Demeo. Gary's right. If you're a fan of D&D, you should probably watch this trailer because when I get off, I'm going to watch it. I'm just like quickly watching 10-second snips in between you talking.
I just don't have I don't have an imagination. I'm not a board game kind of guy. But if it's a video game, board game, I can play it. If the rules are already programmed and I don't have to remember the rules, or people can cheat, or stuff like that, it's just for some reason with my short attention span, I can't do it. So with that, it's gonna scratch that itch for me.
And still get a chance to play D&D.
Yeah, because it's not that I don't want to play D&D. It doesn't look fun to me.
It doesn't compute in your head.
Yeah. To me, I'll be, I have ADD, ADHD, ADD is all the same thing now, actually, in a medical term. I can't pay attention long enough. I really can't.
It's okay, man. It's you and a lot of other people. A lot of other people are the same way. They can't pay attention for very long.
Tough, man. Especially when you're in a room like this and there's stuff everywhere. You're always just looking around like a wacko when you're like trying to do something.
Well, it's all about escapism. Some people like to escape and relax and paint their Casey Jones action figures, and I like to pretend I'm a paladin, adventuring through Sword Coast and the Forgotten Realms, because that's what I am. And we're in a great age now where this is all stuff that we used to have to keep secret, right? Like this is all used to stuff that you'd be like embarrassed to admit to your friends.
Yeah.
But now the social norms, I think, are more opening and inviting now than ever. And it's really easy to find a community that matches a hobby or an interest that you might have.
Man, dude, it's crazy. You look back at like society, and there's always been nerds, Star Wars, Star Trek, stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
But now
there's a stigma though, like in the set, like if you like Star Wars, you're like, you're a nerd. Like it was a stigma. Now it's like it's positive when someone calls me a nerd. I'm like, hell yeah, I am.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, that's not what I was gonna say. Do you know what I think started it? I'll be honest with you. Like my buddy Juan and I have talked about it quite a bit. It's all because of the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, the first one.
Are you sure it's not Big Bang Theory? The look on your face was worth it when I said that.
I admittedly used to like that show, but no, it was the Spider-Man Sam Raimi movie is what did it. That was the first like real successful like comic adaptation that really went mainstream. And then we got, the extra Spider-Man movies. We got the Transformers, and then it was really Spider-Man and then the Transformers, the Michael Bay films, that paved the way. Because when you and I were growing up, you told someone you liked Transformers, you got made fun of in middle school, junior high, high school. Yep. Now it's everything, and everybody can be themselves. And I was going to say, like, it's weird because you look back at the 80s and you see how your parents grew up, or however your parents, like my parents were 80s kids.
Yep.
And then you like look at them growing up. You look at the rest of society growing up around your parents' age, and then before them. Our generation is completely different.
For sure.
Completely different. Being someone that was born in the late 1900s. We were.
Yeah.
It's crazy how everything has kind of changed. Like I'm 36. I don't feel 36.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. I feel young.
And it's also, I think society is just almost like not given permission, because I mean you can be whoever you want. It's easier to like cool, unique stuff more than ever. I mean, if you like collecting Ninja Turtle action figures, guess what? There's a podcast, there's a community tailored to help you find that. And if you like sewing, guess what? There's going to be a sewing podcast, a sewing YouTube channel, a sewing TikTok. Wherever your heart takes you in hobbies, you can find a community that shares your interests, which I think is the most beautiful thing about the internet. Maybe a lot of negative, shitty things about the internet, but at least you get to meet some really cool people that share similar interests with you,
And what I tell people, so we run the group on Facebook, and there's kind of a stigma on Facebook that's always been there, but the fall of Twitter has really helped us. But with Facebook, people are like, I don't want to make a Facebook, because I met a lot of great people on Instagram, and they're like, I don't want to make a Facebook. I don't like Facebook. But the algorithm, let me tell you, you join a couple groups in the things that you like, you interact with them enough, you like stuff, or you comment, or you share in those groups, and then the algorithm puts that stuff on your feed. So like when I sign on to my computer, or when I sign on my computer, what the hell are we talking? I'm on my phone. I open my phone up, I look up on Facebook, it's TMNT, it's TMNT, it's music, it's TMNT, it's Cory, it's TMNT. my racist aunt. It's TMNT. You know what I mean? Like, the racist aunt swings in there every
Yeah.
once in a while, but
Right.
at the end of the day, it's like I open it up and it's curated to stuff that I like.
Yeah,
So
that's cool. People get a little nervous about that stuff, but I love it, dude. It's the same thing like when I open up Instagram or Facebook, it's like jujitsu, Dungeons and Dragons, martial arts, real
Yeah.
estate, like it's all these cool different categories and it's all mixed in one place. It's like why I fell in love with Reddit when Reddit was around when it first came out. I was like, this is cool. I could find any sub community of people that fit my niche perfectly. And now you have a tailored feed that meets whatever you're into.
Yeah. The one thing, my phone's gonna hate me for this because it's just gonna feed the problem. But I don't know if you know Brandon DeFabio, one of my close friends, sings for a band called Pure Bliss, and they're actually on tour right now.
Nice.
One time, this dude brought up hymns at a lunch. Hymns, boner pills, and or he brought it up at lunch once. My phone heard it. Constant get ads on Facebook for him, and like I'll be showing April something. I gotta explain to her there's a hymns ad just popping up on my phone. Like it's gonna kill me right now, but like my phone's listening right now. But man, so turtles, racist aunt, boner pill.
Hymns, yeah. That's so funny, dude.
Oh, it
That's
drives me
amazing.
nuts. Oh,
That's awesome. What? Where can people?
I was gonna probably look at my phone right now. Oh, announcement from NECA, Universal Monsters, Casey Jones already got it.
How do you get ahead of these things? Is that like an announcement that I released today or something? You already scooped it up?
They just they're late to announce some of the things. It seems it's weird. But it's cool. I got one, but nope, we got aged wine. I guess aged wine for the straight edge guy.
Okay.
So yeah, and Allegra. I've been sneezing all day, so now I'm getting Allegra ads.
There you go. Yeah, so if anybody wants to join the TMNT party wagon, you have a website, tmntpw.com.
Yeah, we have a website as well, where you can see checklists, find partners that are artists and other collabs that we do with people. Some TMNT community members have online stores. They sell pins, t-shirts, stuff like that. We have discount codes for them. And then toy stores. The last toy store is a company that we partnered with, and we do 10% off if you order from them as well. Yeah, those some of the checklists we do, so you can keep track of your turtles. And did some high res scans.
Nice.
And then the checklists are pretty fun if they load up. There it is. So this is something I'm going to shout out Steven Joseph in the group. Steven runs this website. He did a lot of this. And a lot of the photos put on there are from me, some of the newer ones. So part of me buying the new figures is I got to make sure I take photos of them for the website. So you have like fun little checklists and see what you're missing.
That is cool. What a sweet. And it gives you a link right from the website to join the Facebook group.
Yep. He really wants you to join the group.
Yep. That's right. So, which I'm going to do right now.
You're not in the group already?
Nope.
Oh, it's a fun time.
Requested. Did you read the rules? Yes, Gary told me.
So that's how we know where people come from. Somebody, one of the questions on there says, "How did you find out about the group?" And a couple people the other day joined and put Tinder.
Tinder.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, "What?"
All right. Well, that's now my answer.
So I don't know. One of our admins might be on Tinder.
There we go. Well, that's now my answer to join the party. Thanks, Gary, for doing this. This is cool. I learned a lot about a sweet hobby that I didn't even know existed out there. I appreciate your time, dude.
Definitely, man. Anytime. Let me touch on one last thing for you.
Sure. What do you got?
We had at the top. You said I was a happy guy all the time.
Yeah.
Right. So for those who have sat through this far, all 56 minutes of this, right? I suffer from depression and suicide. And I might be happy all the time, but it's one of those things that people talk about. It's like, maybe they're not. And I always like to touch on that when I talk with people, because it's something I do in work and help out with people. I'm not on medication. I don't do any of that. For me, with ADD and ADHD and stuff like that, my brain's always going late at night. If I'm trying to fall asleep, I'm not doing something before I fall asleep. I get negative thoughts. It's just how it is. No matter how happy or great my day is, sometimes I just slip. You slip into a darkness. It's hard to describe if you don't suffer from it. And I just like to let people know, like, it happens, and it's not something you should really care or you should worry about. And I'm telling you, Cory, because Cory, you didn't know.
No.
A lot of people don't know, but uh, I've attempted suicide multiple times years ago, 10 plus years ago. Not anymore. The best thing to do is think about it, talk about it with people, because it's, as we are saying, we can all be ourselves now. We can open up, talk about turtles, talk about D&D, be an adult. You can't make, it's how it is nowadays. You can be yourself, be your individual. And you can talk about problems that you might have. And I always like to, let people know that there are people out there to talk about it. For me, what helped me was telling my grandfather about it, who I thought was going to judge me immediately. Instead, open arms. Didn't expect it. Talked about it at work in a seminar, helped even more. Depression kind of went away for about 3 months, sparked up past couple weeks. I don't know what it is. I don't know what triggers it. But just know, it happens, and it's nothing to be ashamed about. And please talk with people about it. If it's a family member, if it's a psychiatrist, if it's a friend, no matter how happy your life may be, honestly, look at the way what happened with Chester Bennington from Lincoln Park. No one knew that it would have happened. So, just something I like to just kind of leave on a note. Sorry, we're ending on a
No.
depressing
This is
note, but
good
it's a very serious note.
Now, with you having that experience of being in that position, what can the people around you do to show that they love and care about you very much? Is it just listening, being a shoulder to cry on? Is it is it better if we check in weekly, daily?
It's definitely different from everybody, and my experiences can be different than what everybody else
It's true.
experiences, because there are different levels. And for me, I want to say that the ability to talk to people about it is what really felt good. And for people that are around you, like if I know someone's depressed, you teeter on, well, am I bothering them? Asking them about it, how are you doing
Yeah.
today? And I have someone that does that, who regularly asks me, how are you feeling? Right? Do it. If you piss them off, you piss them off, but they at least know someone's thinking about you. You know what I mean? And for me, like I said, it happens late at night. Sometimes I just gotta get out of bed and just go sit and stare out the window for a little bit. For me, it's when your mind goes blank, and it's really hard to explain, because I know other people have it the same way. But you start to, for me, it's like my mind goes blank, and then I start thinking about like a death situation. I'm not religious. I don't believe in stuff. But I am kind of spiritual. But I think about like a blackness, you know.
Yeah.
And the thing is, for me, is that I don't think, like, if whatever happens, but in my mind, it's like, well, if it happens and I'm conscious, and like something I can't get out of my head. It's like, well, after I die, am I conscious? Do I know it? And then it falls into a blackness. And for me, in my brain, and it's weird how I describe it. My eyes are closed. I'm all of a sudden shooting through the universe. I'm passing through stars, and then I'm black, and then black, compounding. I feel like it just keeps happening. It gets darker and darker, as black as it get, to where I start, and like I have to snap out of it. And that's what I do. And that's how you stop it. That's how you get out of a dark place for me. Is you realize you're in the position, and then you tell yourself, get out of it. And then I get up, I go take a walk, look out my window, get some water, shake it off. I'm okay.
Pattern interruption.
Yeah. You can, if your brain is already going, you can sneak in there. You can go right in and just like, wake up, stop it. So that's just my little fun little darkness talk about trying to help people out the best I can.
Well, just
helps
remember
hopefully.
that if something did happen to you, Gary, there's a lot of people would be sad if you weren't here. And if you had left this earth a very long time ago, that the community you created, the people, the friendships you've made, none of those would existed if you had left this earth many moons ago. And
Thank you. I agree. Yeah.
the world is a better place with you. and you, the listener, of whoever is listening, is make sure you check up on your friends and let them know that you love them, because it's 2023 and other dudes can tell dudes that they
You tell each other you love each other, man. That's how it is. So hang in there. No one gets out of this life the same. No one gets out of it differently. So make the best of it. Make the memories. There's no race to get out of it faster than anybody else.
That's a beautiful way to end the podcast. I think we're gonna end it right there. Gary, you're the man. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure. Anytime, I'll be back. You let me know.
Thank you so much for watching this episode of the Cory Cast. I really appreciate the time that you spent listening, and even listening to the full episode to get you to this point. I just want to say I'm just so appreciative and so thankful that I have so much love and support for these episodes. If you want to be a guest on this podcast, reach out to me. I'm always looking for new people. Let's talk about what you're passionate about. Let's talk about your hobbies. Let's give you a positive platform to talk about the things that matter to you. Do me a favor, make sure you hit subscribe, like, follow, leave a review of the podcast. All those little things will help this podcast grow, because without you guys, there is no podcast, and I am just so grateful that you're taking the time to listen to it today. Thank you so much.